Hello and welcome to Indie Wrestling Q&A. My name is Jason Hevell. This is hyjinx.
Hi! Are you close enough? I mean, you're all far away. Man, I don't want to tell you to do this, but I imagine you can hear us better if you're closer. You can like unzoom, like pan, and walk at the same time. It would get the same effect, except you could hear me better. I don't know, you've done this before.
Okay, so how long have you been in the wrestling business?
I'm closing in on actually 15 years. I'm older than I look. Yeah, 15 years. Almost 15 years ago, I started at Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant's wrestling school in Shawsville, Virginia, while I was going to Virginia Tech. And then I said, screw college, I'm going to do this.
So how did you think of your character, hyjinx?
Well, my character is not much of a character. It's pretty much just me. But right around when I started wrestling, I had a winter hat that looked like a jester hat. And somebody suggested I use that with wrestling, and it just made sense to me. And then I went through hell trying to come up with a name, because I just went around and asked people what they thought, and don't ever do that. Oh, you're just going to get a list of horrible ideas from people, because they don't think about it. They just blurt out every stupid thing that comes to their head. But somewhere in that mess of garbage, someone said hyjinx, and I said, that does sound good. And there it was.
So have you ever played in any other characters in wrestling, or just hyjinx?
Yeah, actually I started. I actually started before I was hyjinx. Hyjinx wasn't the first gimmick I did. I wanted to do something dark, and now that I look around at wrestling, I realize I was the same dumbass that annoys me. Like, I was the angry guy in black, and I painted red in my eyes, and I called myself Malice, and I wanted to be all scary, and it's just like, the scary angry guy who wears black just has been done to death and never really worked, so I'm glad I dropped that and went with something that's more me.
So who were your influences wrestling-wise growing up?
I, as a youngster, was a huge fan of The Ultimate Warrior, and I still am in a different way. I mean, I see him differently now that I'm older and wiser, but I still look back and realize that really he had it all figured out. But then I grew a little older and I started to admire Mr. Perfect. So I liked the Ultimate Warrior for the theatrics and the character, and I really liked Mr. Perfect just all around. I loved his wrestling. I loved the Mr. Perfect persona. He's probably my all-time favorite.
So what has been the most physical match you have competed in?
There have been a lot. It's hard to say in all of my years, but I've been in ladder matches, I've been in barbed wire matches. A lot of people don't realize that I've done a lot of the hardcore stuff, but I've done all kinds of crazy weapons, and I took a sidewalk slam literally on a sidewalk in a parking lot, and I think that might have been the most brutal move I've taken. That was probably 10 years ago, and I'm still feeling it. Never really healed up right after that, but I've been in some violent matches. If someone asks me to do it, I'll do it.
So how many wrestling federations have you worked for?
I can't really keep count, but it's all kind of, I live in Northern Virginia, so my general rule, and occasionally I make an exception, is I don't want to go more than 4 hours from my house. Because if it's any further than that, I usually have to stay at a hotel, and then it ends up not being worth it. But, so I'll go down, all the way down as far as Virginia Beach, or up Philly, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia. These days, I'm mostly in Maryland, West Virginia. I haven't wrestled in Virginia, even though I live there this year at all.
So how did you hear about the Wrestling Federation, EWA?
I had been friends with Blood and Eagle for many years, so they just invited me up. I had worked here at EWA a long time ago, and that's just kind of how the wrestling world works. You work a place for a while, and then you go off and do your own thing, and people forget about you, and then they go, hey, I remember that guy, I wonder what he's doing, and I call him, and then Usually, I never say no to my friends, so then I come back. And,
So how does your entrance music relate to your character?
my entrance music, I believe, is Andrew WK. I don't know, you know, I just heard it one time and thought that works for me. I think it was on a compilation CD, like a Warped Tour compilation. And when I heard it, it didn't even click that it would be good entrance music for me right away. I just thought, man, that should be someone's entrance music. This really works. And it took me a while, hearing it a few times, to realize, you know, that would work for me, actually. So I just went with it.
So how did the whole burger cookies tie into your character?
Oh, that's quite simple. I love burger cookies. I've actually been a fan of burger cookies for a long time. I had somebody down in Woodbridge. I don't know how they got a hold of them. They introduced me.
7-Eleven?
Are they in 7-Eleven? That far away from
Wawa, Royal Farm?
I don't know. Wherever they got them, they introduced me to them, and I fell in love with them right away. And after that, like I never really got a hold of them again, because I never really came up to Baltimore until I started wrestling here again. And I walked in and said, where did these come from? And they said, well, they sponsor us. And I went, oh my God, I'm going to stay here forever. I love these. And that's that. That's the story. I legitimately love those cookies. And then I stuffed my bag full of burger cookies to hold me over until the next time.
Well, you got until December. Well,
It's a long time.
November.
That's several packages of cookies.
So, in your opinion, who would be your all-time dream opponent?
Wow, that's tough. You mean like dead or alive?
Yeah.
Anybody, if you had your dream opponent?
Well, you know, alive, I feel like when I watch Christian work, he seems to have a more, if I could pick a famous big name guy, I feel like Christian, it's more my style. So I would want to have the best match possible, I would go with him. Dead or alive, it's gotta be Mr. Perfect, right? There's somebody tiptoeing. He's trying to be unnoticed, but look, I'm pointing him out. Now you're on camera. You are so busted. You interrupted my interview.
It won't be the last.
Okay, yeah, so Mr. Perfect, yeah, I mean, he's my all-time favorite, so who wouldn't want to do that? But what's great about wrestling for so many years is once in a while you bump into, you know, one of your heroes and get to actually work with them.
did you work with any of them?
I have teamed with Marty Jannetty. That alone is worth wrestling for 15 years. I've teamed with Marty Jannetty. I was a huge fan of the Rockers. I have wrestled George the Animal Steel. I've taken the 5 count from King Kong Bundy. Wrestled a midget. You know, I love midgets. Who doesn't? And then I've gotten, even the guys I haven't been in the ring with, I got to meet. Some were good experiences, some bad, but it's always a good story. Like Jake the Snake. He's interesting. You know, I've gotten to hang out with Gangrel and Scotty Too Hottie, and it's cool to hang out with guys that you used to watch on TV. Just like, look at this, Scotty Too Hottie just bought me a meal at Wendy's. That's weird. I took Gangrel to a cookie party. Who can say that they've done that? I had to pick him up from the airport, and my friends were having a cookie party, and I left my video camera there, and I said, hey, Gangrel, we're going to have to make a pit stop here. And I just surprised them. Hey, guys, I need my camera. By the way, this is Gangrel. Can we have some cookies? Cool, thanks. Took a vampire to a cookie party. How many people can say that? So that's just like the wild world of professional wrestling. Just weird things happen. Like when I wrestled a midget, I was just renting a ring to somebody, and a midget got hurt, and they had one midget, and they said, can you wrestle this midget? And I was dressed, I believe, in this tank top, and said, well, I don't have my gear, but yeah! And later that night, I was cleaning midget blood out of my shorts, because I stapled a dollar bill to his face. Like, this is not something that everyone gets to do.
Okay.
You know?
Wait.
All right, next.